When we look back at the history of Shavuot, we see a number of problems in associating it with the revelation at Mount Sinai. Why? Because the biblical references to Shavuot in Exodus and Leviticus regard it as only the Feast of Harvest, Chag HaKatzir, or the Day of First Fruits, Yom HaBikurim. Nowhere in the Bible is any link made between Mount Sinai and Shavuot. I didn't want to give you that spoiler alert earlier in the service. Even the biblical account of the revelation at Mount Sinai does not connect it with Shavuot. In other words, in biblical times, it was simply an agricultural festival, a day marking the end of the grain harvest, which began 7 Shavuot ago, 7 weeks ago, on Passover. Shavuot also marked a new agricultural season, the bringing of the first fruits of the land to the temple. Each farmer would bring his first fruits to the temple when they ripen. Anytime during that period that began today and ended on Sukkot, which marks the end of the fall harvest. So what's the deal with the giving of the Torah? Where'd that come from? When the second temple was destroyed by the Romans in the year 70, you could not bring your harvest crop offerings to the temple for one simple reason. There was no temple. That's when the period known as Rabbinic Judaism began. When the first rabbis reformed Judaism, yes, I use that word intentionally, not capital L like R, but they reformed Judaism, and at some point they made a connection between Mount Sinai and some date around now. There's actually a debate in the Talmud over what the right date is, because the exact date of Sinai is not given in the Torah. And they even say it could have been on one of two dates, but they decided to fix the calendar and say it's always on the 6th of Sivan, which is today, according to the lunar calendar Jews follow. Strong connection, though, is the link between Passover and today. No other festivals are connected so emphatically. We have literally counted the days, called the Omer, in between Passover and today, not only to connect the beginning of the wheat harvest and the end of the wheat harvest, but to mark the movement from Egypt to Sinai, from freedom. Freedom's not enough. You could do bad things with freedom. We need a blueprint on how to live, how to be, how to behave. And that's where we are today. So what happened at Mount Sinai? Moses and the people heard something eternal, something mysterious from God, something wondrous, which is why I intentionally crafted this service with the most wondrous and mysterious way, I believe, to communicate God's echo. A language that doesn't even require words. Or as Rabbi Heschel put it, the only language that seems to be compatible with the wonder and mystery of being is the language of music. In less time than it took me to compose all the Torah words for this service so that we have a way to stay together wherever we are, in less time than it took me to do that, Ella and Jack sat with me as I shared music they had never played or sung before, and in less than an hour heard Torah through their souls, as you're hearing today. Confession, since they're both in college or about to be. When I led the Cornell University Glee Club, it was the greatest part of my collegiate career. My musical director and professor of blessed memory taught me something I think about. I thought about before ever becoming a rabbi. It's whenever I strive to renew something, and when I became a rabbi, to try to renew a seldom noticed holiday like Shavuot, which even the early rabbis had to reform, I believe, as my music teachers taught me, that we are limited with vocabulary to express emotion. We need music. King David had a harp above his bed, and that playing it was the only way that he was able to soothe King Saul from being depressed. Moses had a speech impediment. He was a stutterer. He actually stuttered. The greatest leader of our people. I think we can appreciate Torah most through what we've seen with these two co-leaders alone. The best way to express the meaning of Torah is not through words, but through music. Music allows us to experience the entire spectrum of emotions, to feel, inspire, to express emotion. You never come out of a concert, or God forbid, you never come out of a service and say, that service at Temple was so correct, or that concert was so correct. You say that concert or service, that music was inspiring. Inspiration is the goal. And as my music professor taught me, inspiration is actually derived from the word breathe, which music does, as in breathing in and breathing out. Shavuot is a day for Jewish connection, and I believe that is what great music of any genre does, even though I still need to learn more about hip-hop. But whether it's opera, classical, contemporary, music of any genre connects us to each other. That is the subtext of all music. We are intergenerationally expressing human connection and human emotion, and music is the most powerful means, I believe, to an emotion. It's not just that music transcends creed and color and culture. It's not even that music is the universal language, or that music has a beautiful and powerful way of uniting communities. That's all true. What I'm saying today is that music is the language of Jewish prayer. It's the language of Sinai. It's what every generation, even the first generation of the Jewish people, I think, heard in the echo of God. Moses, who stuttered, but who saw a bush that wasn't consumed. It seemed to be burning, but it didn't stop burning, was told by God long before Shavuot and the Passover story he led. He was told by God as we end the Passover cycle with Shavuot. Remember? Shal na'alecha me'al raglecha ki hamakom asher ata omed olav admat kodesh hu. Do not come closer, God says to Moses. Just remove your sandals, take your shoes off from your feet, for the place on which you stand is holy ground. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way. Where you walk, where you stand, where you love, where you pray. All of life is holy ground.
Every he, every she, every what, every who. It's in her, it's in me, it's in them, it's in you. In the bitter, in the sweet, in the calm and the storm. All of life is holy ground.
So
Walk as if it's holy ground.
breathe as if it's all around. sound. Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground. When you hurt, when you heal, when you laugh, when you pray,
when you hold, when you keep, when you give it away. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day. All of life is holy ground. So walk as if it's holy ground. Breathe as if it's all around. Talk and make a holy sound. Take your shoes off, you're on holy ground.
we are one story, one journey, one tapestry we weave.
One people, one glory, one legacy we leave. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, everything, everyone, every place, every way.
Where you walk, where you stand, where you love, where you pray.
All of life is holy ground.
Can you feel the holy ground?
Take your shoes off, you're